right, good evening, everyone. It is 6 p.m. and I will call the 8th regular Common Council meeting to order. Will the clerk please state the quote of the evening?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Strive not to be a success, but to be of value.
Thank you. Will the clerk call the roll?
Alderperson Ackley.
Excused?
Alderperson Decker.
Here.
Alderperson Feldy. Here. Alderperson Flicky-Paneski. Here. Alderperson Heidemann. Here. Alderperson Mitchell.
Let's have some decorum in the council. Thank you.
Alderperson Mitchell.
Here.
Alderperson Perella.
Another interruption, you'll be asked to leave. Third and final warning. Please proceed with the roll, clerk.
Alderperson Perella.
Here.
Alderperson Ramey.
Here.
Alderperson Rust.
Excused.
Alderperson Salazar.
Here.
There are 8 present.
Thank you. Would everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Approval of the minutes from our last meeting. Alder Decker.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to approve the minutes from the 7th council meeting held on July 3rd, 2023.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on the minutes? Seeing none. All those in favor of approving the minutes, state aye.
Aye.
Any objection? Minutes are approved. Next, item 4, resignations. Assistant City Attorney.
Thank you. David Gladys from the Sustainable Sheboygan Task Force, effective immediately.
Thank you. Alder Decker.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to accept and file.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Any objection? All right, that is approved. Next, mayoral appointments. Assistant City Attorney.
The mayor hereby submits the following appointments for confirmation. Mackenzie Petrie to be considered for appointment to the Mayor's International Committee. Amanda Salazar to be considered for appointment to the Sheboygan Area Room Tax Commission. Chris Kennedy to be considered for appointment to the Sheboygan Area Room Tax Commission. Stephen Yeager, architect, to be considered for appointment to the Historic Preservation Commission. Daryl Hoffland to be considered for appointment to the Redevelopment Authority. Leovardo Aguilar to be considered for appointment to the Sustainability Task Force.
And those items will lay over. Item 6, confirmation. Assistant City Attorney.
Thank you. The mayor hereby submits the following appointments for confirmation. Alex Vandenhovel to be considered for appointment to the Mayor's International Committee. Akshay Jain to be considered for appointment to the Sheboygan Sustainable Task Force.
Thank you. Alder Decker.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to confirm.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. This is a roll call vote.
Eight ayes.
Thank you. City Clerk, anyone register for public forum?
No one this evening.
Thank you. Next, we will go into remarks from outgoing Judge Natasha Torrey. Judge, would you like to go to the podium?
Okay, well, thank you to ladies and gentlemen of the council for the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I appreciate you. When I first became the municipal court judge for the city of Sheboygan and the village of Kohler, I was the first Black woman to be elected judge outside of Milwaukee and only the 4th in the history of the whole state of Wisconsin. And the color of my skin and the fact that I was not born here in Sheboygan were just non-issues. What mattered was my demonstrated love of our community and commitment to justice for all people. During my time as leader of our community-based alternative to the criminal justice system, I've been able to make many improvements to the efficiency and operation of the municipal court. We are now nearly paperless. We have the ability for remote appearances, online payments, access to the hearing impaired, basic interpretation services, and more efficient forfeiture collection. We've gone from an office with 20-hour-a-week accessibility for the public to being available in person 40 hours a week, and 24/7 email and voicemail, all while keeping budget neutral. My current clerks, Ann and Casey, are truly the best that this court has ever seen, and we're blessed to have them. The court has always paid for itself and contributes excess funds back to the greater good of the city. And this year, the projected revenue, in addition to paying our expenses, is over $500,000. But what I want you to remember is that the real benefit of this court is the ability to settle matters and access justice in a forum that's efficient and community-led. Municipal court matters save money and time for both our local government and residents compared to sending everything through the circuit court. In municipalities that have their own municipal courts, defendants pay less in forfeitures, and municipalities keep more of those forfeitures. So it's a win-win from an expense perspective. But what I appreciated most about my time at the court is how effective it is from a human perspective. The role of the municipal judge is to educate the public, and this is something that I was afforded an opportunity to do every week. I appreciate the partnerships that we've created with the Sheboygan Area School District, Lakeshore Technical College, Lakeland College, and the Sheboygan County Chamber of Commerce. I'm thankful for the support and encouragement that I've received from the mayor, police chief Chris Dalmagalski, Eric Bushman in the IT department, and all of the department heads. And I would like to give a special thanks to my husband, Dr. Jeff Lismer, who literally served as my unpaid clerk and technician during COVID due to personnel issues. I want you to know that I'm not leaving because I don't want to be here. I'm proud of the work that I did with the school district to help improve outcomes for at-risk youth. In my new position as circuit court judge, I'll have access to even more tools to attempt to try to improve the mental health of youth in our community, and also increase their sense of belonging and purpose. I now am proud to say that I leave the court in capable hands and in good condition. I leave the court in better shape than what I found it in terms of efficiencies, efficacies, cost savings, and fairness. I trust that my successor will continue to treat the court and all of its occupants and stakeholders with dignity and respect that the position deserves. And I ask that you continue to support a thoughtful, independent, and strong judiciary that meets the needs of our residents with a listening ear towards justice. Thank you.
So we are so lucky to have had Natasha these last 8+ years, and we are sad to see her go, but she's on to bigger and better things. So with that, I do have a certificate to recognize her service to the city of Sheboygan, her 8+ years of valued service and contribution to justice in the city of Sheboygan, May 2015 to July 2023. Congratulations, Judge. All right, next we have a presentation from our finance director regarding the 2023 year-to-date budget report and 2024 budget outlook. Take it away, Caitlin.
Bear with me a moment. Good evening, everyone. My name is Caitlin Krieger. I am the finance director here at the city. Tonight, I wanted to take just a few moments to go over some 2023 year-to-date budget numbers, but also go over some outlook factors and projection items to look ahead towards the 2024 budget. I am going to focus tonight on the general fund because that is the largest expense area for the city. That covers all general aspects of government, including public works, police, fire, and all administrative type activities, including finance. At the moment, we look to be, if we look at 2023 year-to-date, our revenues are at approximately 45.41%. This is as of June 30th, so we're at 6 months or 50% of the year. However, with some significant revenues outstanding, including the August tax settlement, our state shared revenue settlement, transportation aids, and also the water utility payment in lieu of tax, we have some significant dollars outstanding that will be collected over the next several months. If we do take those items into consideration, we are at about 89.9% of our budget as it stands for 2023. Those other items that are outstanding include building permits, ambulance revenues, municipal court forfeitures or citations, which will make up that other 10%. So at this moment in time, our revenues are looking on course for 2023. On the expense side, we are currently at 52.12% of budget. I do want to just make a note that there are significant dollar amount transfers that are done one time a year and are done already for the year. So if we remove those, half of those items that have already been done, we're at about 46% of our year-to-date budget. So the general fund is looking very healthy at this moment as it relates to budget. When we look at the general fund revenue detail, you can see how it is split up amongst the different categories. Again, the taxes, we're going to be receiving that final settlement in August, which will get us to 100%. And intergovernmental revenue is the $11.6 million that we are expecting to be settled between August and October. So the 11.8% will get closer to the 100% shortly. All the other items are currently either about where we would expect or just slightly below, but there is a lag on certain revenues, especially ambulance revenues. We take people to the hospital, but it takes a few months for the bills to go out to the residents or individuals who have used the services, so it takes a couple months for those to show up in our financials. On the expense side, we are, as I mentioned, at 52.1%. Those large items, the purchase services and the miscellaneous expense and transfers do incorporate those large transfers that happen once a year. So that is why those items are significantly over that 50% benchmark number. But we are looking healthy in all the other areas at this time related to expenses. I did not go into detail on other funds tonight because we have many of them, and I didn't want to have everyone be bored, to be honest. So I focused on the general fund. However, if there's any other questions come up, or if anyone is ever interested to see how the other budget line items are doing, I please urge you to reach out to myself in the finance department. I'm more than happy to go over any expense or revenue line items with anybody in the community and especially our alders. Now, as we look towards 2024, because the budget process is already underway, the finance staff met with the department heads and also the clerks that help us in the various departments with entry of budget. I wanted to make sure that the council was appraised of the information that is out there relating to the 2024 budget outlook. Every year, we do have several programs that we look at when it comes to state laws that we are required to either participate in or are by statute required to do. One of those is the levy limit. This is an item that is, by the state, is capped at a certain dollar amount, which is the net new construction each year as a percentage, relates it to the levy limit. So a couple of significant items coming forward for the levy limit are 6 TIDs or tax increment districts did close at the beginning of this year, so we will see those balances reflected in our levy limit calculation for this year. In addition, we get to do that net new construction. However, that number we do not have yet. That comes out approximately August 15th. So we will have an updated figure on how much the city is allowed to levy in the middle of August. Another item of note is the state shared revenue. There was a bill that passed not too long ago, Act 12, in the state government. So it increased the amount of our municipal aid that we are going to be receiving from the state and actually tied it to sales tax. So this is not a one-time revenue. This is anticipated to increase with the sales tax each year moving forward. The expected addition of supplemental municipal aid for the city of Sheboygan is just over or just under $2 million at $1.97 million. So those are additional dollars that will be available in the 2024 budget. That being said, the supplemental aid is restricted. We can only use it on law enforcement, emergency medical services, public works, courts, and transportation. So there are some limitations on what that can be used for. And then in addition to the additional funds, we have some maintenance of effort requirements that have been put into place in that same act. So we are required to keep the same amount of police and fire positions from one budget year to the next in order to receive our full state shared revenue allocation. Lastly, the expenditure restraint program is another item that the city takes part in. It caps the amount that you can increase your expenditures year to year, and the state gives you, well, the city, an allotted amount of money as almost an incentive to keep expenses level or at least matching consumer price index. So because there is the influx of additional funds with the municipal aid supplemental state shared revenue, the city will not be needing to report 2024 budget information for the 2025 payment. So there was a little hesitancy by myself. I know my colleagues know that I was nervous about how this would be impacting the expenditure restraint program, this additional funds, but it does appear that the state has taken that into consideration. Some known items that the city is up against at this moment in time for the 2024 budget include an increase in the required employer contribution for the Wisconsin retirement system that all eligible employees participate in at the city. So there's a range of a 0.1% increase of salaries to police who are going to be needing a 1.1% increase in their contributions. Additionally, all WRS eligible city employees are increasing the 0.1% of salary to 6.9% of the salary to WRS. Additionally, there are union negotiations currently underway for the transit union. That contract had expired on December 31st, 2022. But in addition, the police and fire contracts are also set to expire at the end of this year. So all three of those contracts will need to be incorporated into the 2024 budget. Lastly, just for reference point, I wanted to make sure that I included the estimated consumer price index for the state of Wisconsin. We are looking at a 5.4%. Typically, if we were having to submit the expenditure restraint program, that is the amount that we would be restricted on for our budget increases. With the change in the law for next year, we're not as concerned, but it is one of those items that all of our, just like everyone at home, all of our items that we pay for are increasing in price as well. So that 5.4% is just an item of note. Lastly, before I give back the microphone, I wanted to give just some friendly reminders, especially to our Common Council. The 2024 budget schedule is included in the packet today as a report of officer from myself. So I want to just point out that there are some key dates on that document to make sure you mark your calendars down. There is a committee of the whole, I believe it's September 5th, right after Labor Day, where we are going to be looking at the budget in depth is with each department. It's a different model than we have done in the past, but we are asking and hoping for more public and aldermanic input into the process than we have had in the past. The 2024 to 2028 capital improvement plan also is incorporated into this current budget schedule. It previously was done as a separate process, but we have incorporated it into one so that we could get a holistic view of our budget as we move through the process. And lastly, I wanted to make sure that all of the alder persons know that the 2023 assessment notices have been mailed. So that is 17,000 plus documents that have been mailed to every property owner in the city to make sure they are aware of the assessment change that is happening. This is year 2 of 5 of the revaluation contract that was signed with Groda Appraisals back in 2021. So I urge anybody who has questions or concerns about their assessment to reach out to the assessor's office, but I'm more than happy to also assist where I can. With that, I will answer any questions from the council.
Questions for Director Krieger? Alder Perella?
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to, first of all, know, which packet are you referring to?
So the agenda packet. So today's council documents have a budget schedule within it.
Okay, all right. Would you briefly, please, expand, if you can, on how the levy, how is the levy that the city can modify calculated? You said the new construction, right?
That is correct. So the state puts out every year the equalized value for the city, and they calculate net new construction. Every year, we start with our base amount of levy that we were allowed the previous year and a percentage. So I'm trying to recall, and I'm going to blank, of course, on the amount from last year. But let's say it's 1% was net new construction percentage. Of total value in the city, it grew by 1% with net new construction. Our levy can go up by 1%. So in addition for this year, because we closed the tax increment districts, you can also increase by 50% of the value of the TIDs, the amount that was increased from the TID value. So there are a couple points this year compared to a normal year, but that is how that is calculated.
Thank you.
Additional comments for the director? All right, thank you, Caitlin. All right, next we have another employee recognition. If Ed Prochek would come up. And Derek. And if there's anyone else from transit here. So, if anyone has ever rode the bus in the last couple, Jim Schramm, Jim, come on down. You haven't done this in a while, Jim. Family, okay. So if anyone has been on Shoreline Metro in the last couple decades, you might know this smiling face, or at least you might have used to, Ed Prochek. Ed has been a dedicated bus driver for Shoreline Metro for 43 years. He started in January 30th, 1980, so just a few years back. But he's been a committed, dedicated public servant to the city of Sheboygan, providing transportation to folks with disabilities, elderly folks, and kiddos in the Sheboygan Area School District, and everyone in between that utilizes public transit. So we're sad to see Ed go, but we're very glad to have had him on Team City for these last few decades. So Ed, congratulations on your retirement. Would you like to say a few words? Sure. All right.
Thank you. I made a few notes, so we'll be here a while. It'll be dark by the time we get out of here. But no, I really want to just say thank you very much. I want to thank the council and the city of Sheboygan for its support of public transportation, probably one of the most underutilized economic tools we have to provide transportation to folks that need to get to work, to the doctors, to get an education so that they can further themselves. There are many aspects of public transit, and I hope that through the task force that is in place now, with the conjunction with the county and the city, we can move forward to expand the quality of transportation that is well needed within the county for our veterans, our elderly, and our disabled, who are, many of them are struggling to get to care and things of that nature. I'm just going to quote a brief message that I sent to Mr. Mink, which is the last part of my retirement message to him. I would like to thank you, the City of Sheboygan, my colleagues, the management team, ATU Local 998, and my family. Most of all, I want to thank the citizens and riders of Shoreline Metro, for without you, there was no need for me. I am not disappearing, just beginning a new chapter in what I consider the astonishing book of life. God bless everyone, and thank you very much for the opportunity to serve.
So on the radio, I might be the transit guy, but that guy right there is the real transit guy. So 43 years. To put that in perspective, he should be the supervisor, but when he started driving transit, I was 4 months old. So I've learned a thing or two from Mr. Prochek. I am proud to have worked alongside him for about the last 12 years. He was a colleague, he was a coworker, a team member, and most importantly, is now a friend. Congratulations, Ed.
All right. We will jump into the consent agenda. All items 12 through 18. Alder Decker?
Thank you, Mayor. I move to receive and file all ROs, receive all RCs, and adopt all resolutions and ordinances.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on any of those items? Alder Heidemann?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. One of the things that I noticed is missing on the consent agenda is an item that I forwarded to you.
Alder Heidemann, please refer to the number that you were specifically talking about on the consent agenda.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Seeing none, this is a roll call vote. Thank you. Those items are approved. Items 19, 20, 21 will be sent to the Licensing, Hearing, and Public Safety Committee. Items 22, resolution number 32, 23, 24 by Alderpersons Mitchell and Flicky-Pineski, authorizing the appropriate city officials to execute the documents necessary for purchase an ambulance from Bosmill Fire Equipment for the Sheboygan Fire Department to make the purchase necessary to equip the new ambulance. Alder Decker.
Thank you, Mayor. I ask to suspend.
Any objection to suspension? Seeing none, please proceed.
I move to adopt the resolution.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Fire Chief, would you like to just give a brief?
Sure, thank you. I appreciate it, Mayor. So right now what we're facing is, in our line of work, a dire situation that our supply chain, the vendors nationwide, have delayed, not through fault of their own, but just through supply issues, the building of ambulances. And therefore, we placed an order back in 2021. Unfortunately, it's still 45 weeks out that we would not receive our first ambulance. We ordered another one in 2022, which will be another year past the previous ambulance, the 2021 ambulance. So we had the opportunity with this vendor to, they're making a demo. It's already being produced. It's on the line. We have ambulances that are currently not functioning like they should, and they're down more than they're up. So we are in dire need of an ambulance. This would be an opportunity, if approved, that we can get this by spring of '24, which will allow us to continue to provide the service.
Thank you, Fire Chief. Any other discussion on this item? Seeing none, we'll go to the roll call vote.
8 ayes.
All right, that item is approved. Next, we will go to report of committee number 42, 23, 24 by the Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred General Ordinance number 102324 by Alderpersons Mitchell and Flicky-Peneski, amending section 2-840 to authorize the Finance Director Treasurer to establish a petty cash fund in various departments to set the limits for such funds. Alder Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to receive the RC and amend the resolution so that section 2-840.
Alder Mitchell, we need a motion to
put it on the
approve
floor
for-
before I amend it.
Correct.
In that case, I would make a motion to receive the RC and adopt the resolution.
It's been moved and seconded. Now, Alder Mitchell.
All right. I move to amend the resolution so that section 2-840 sub A reads as follows. The finance director / treasurer may establish petty cash funds within city departments for small or emergency expenditures. The maximum value of such funds shall not exceed $3,000.
It's been moved and seconded. Any discussion on the amendment? Alder Flicky-Peneski.
Point of clarification, the $3,000 in my understanding was the aggregate dollar amount of all petty cash outstanding in all city departments. Is that accurate?
Finance Director.
That is accurate. Thank you.
Alder Perella.
Just to confirm, so it would be 3,000 per department per year?
The amount would be in totality of $3,000 amongst the departments of the city. For example, I believe it's the fire department has $100 of petty cash. So every department, the total amount that I would be allowed to disperse amongst the departments would be $3,000.
And you will decide, sorry, Mr. Mayor, just a quick follow-up, and you will decide how much each individual department will be receiving, correct?
That is correct. The intention of asking for this change was that there were minor requests that were from other departments for a change of, let's say, $20 or $30. And because it was written in the ordinance with the dollar amounts, I was unable to grant those requests. This allows me to not come back every time a request for a change happens.
Perfect, thank you.
Alder Flicky-Peneski.
Thank you. That's okay. Pretty much Alder Perella clarified. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, seeing no more cues, this will vote on the amendment first. All those in favor of adopting the amendment, state aye. Aye. Any objection? All right, the amendment is approved. Now back to the main motion as amended. Any discussion on the main motion as amended? Alder Mitchell? No?
My request was just for a quick explainer on the amendment, but now that we have amended it, I suppose I can still quickly discuss the difference between the resolution we have in front of us and the same document that we talked about in finance. Just the reason behind the amendment was this came out of finance with a failure to recommend approval to the council, but also not a recommendation of denial, just no opinion, and adding that $3,000 aggregate limit on top seemed to be what was needed to settle some of the concerns that were had within committee.
Thank you, Alder Mitchell. Any other discussion on the motion as amended? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
Thank you.
8 ayes.
All right, that item is approved. Next, report of committee number 472324 by the Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred resolution number 282324 by Alderpersons Mitchell and Flicky-Peneski, authorizing an adjustment for the 2023 budget to fund higher than anticipated utility and janitorial costs at Uptown Social at the new facility in the city buildings at the former Uptown Social building. Alder Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to receive the RC and adopt the resolution.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, this is a roll call vote.
8 ayes.
All right, that item is approved. Next, RC number 482324 by Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred resolution number 292324 by Alderpersons Mitchell and Flicky-Pineski, authorizing an adjustment in the 2023 budget to fund legal costs in the Human Resources Department. Alder Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to receive the RC and adopt the resolution.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none. Roll call vote.
Eight ayes.
That item is approved. Next, report of committee number 492324 by the Finance and Personnel Committee, to whom was referred resolution number 302324 by Alderpersons Mitchell and Flicky-Pineski, authorizing appropriate city officials to sign and execute an NASPO Value Point Purchase Entity Addendum with U.S. Bank for purchasing card services. Alder Mitchell.
Thank you, Mayor. I move to receive the RC and adopt the resolution.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion on this item? Seeing none, this will be a roll call vote.
Eight ayes.
All right, that item is approved. Items 27, 28, 29 will be sent to their respective committees. Next is a contemplated closed session. Alder Decker.
Thank you, Mayor. Let's get through this one here. I move to convene in closed session under the exemption provided in section 19.85 sub 1 sub E Wisconsin stats for the purpose of investing public funds, purchasing public properties, or conducting other public business, to wit, negotiating with one or more property owners within TID 17 regarding the purchase of land and investment of public funds for housing development, and under the exemption provided in section 19.851 E, Wisconsin stats for the purpose of investing public funds, purchasing public properties, or conducting other specific public business, to wit, negotiating with one or more property owners within TID 18 regarding the purchase of land and investment of public funds for commercial development, and under the exemption provided in section 19.851 E, Wisconsin stats for the purpose of investing public funds, purchasing public properties, or conducting other specific public business, to wit, negotiating with one or more property owners within the Sheboygan Business Center regarding the purchase of land and investing of public funds for commercial development. I also move to authorize Brian Duda to attend today's 3 closed sessions so that he may present information to and answer questions from members of the council, but to exclude Mr. Duda from discussions or deliberations.
It's been moved and seconded. This will be a roll call vote to convene in closed session.
Eight ayes.
All right, that is approved. We'll convene in closed session.
Thank you.